Let's make a rich classic cheesecake recipe that is so good. We'll also make a berry sauce to pair it with to make it extra special. Now, you'll want to stay to the end because I include tips to make sure you don't have any cracks in your cheesecake. And after going through all the work, you want to make sure that this is a really pretty cake. Stay to the end and you'll get all the deets. My name's Melissa, the baker behind Whisking Up Yum. I love baking sweet things and empowering others to have fun in the kitchen too. If that sounds like your jam, click subscribe in the corner and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. And as always, download your recipe card so you can make this classic cheesecake recipe too. It's so good, you're going to want to make it, trust me. Typical classic cheesecake crust uses graham crackers, but you can easily sub out digestive biscuits, Oreos, basically any kind of cookies you can think of. It'll change up the flavor profile, it'll still be delicious, and why don't you let me know if you change it up and what you think about it in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. I love it. All right, let's get baking. Before starting, we're going to preheat our oven to 325 degrees and we're going to assemble our springform pan. One thing you're going to want to do is there's a ridge around here. You're going to want to make sure that gets in your pan with the ridge side down so that after it's baked, you can easily transfer your cheesecake off. And it also makes it so that when you use a spatula, you can get in there without having to dig down and in. So you'll want to make sure you get that side down when you assemble your thing. For the crust, we're going to pulse the graham crackers, granulated sugar, and melted butter together in the food processor. Continue to pulse until the mixture resembles beach sand and keeps its form when pressed together. Spray the bottom and the sides of the pan with non-stick cooking spray to make sure you don't have any sticking to the edges of the pan. Pour the cracker mixture into the bottom of the pan and level it out. Use the bottom of the cup or measuring cup to firmly press the crumbs into an even layer. Bake the crust for about 10 minutes and remove it from the oven and allow it to cool while you make the cheesecake filling. All right, now that our crust is out of the oven, we can go ahead and start making the filling. Let's get a pot of water boiling on the stove. Place the softened cream cheese mixture in a large bowl. If you have a paddle for your mixture, you'll want to use that to beat the cream cheese. Otherwise, you can just use a beater like I am. Beat the cream cheese on medium-low until it's smooth and creamy, about 1 to 2 minutes. Add in sour cream and continue to mix until thoroughly incorporated. Then add the vanilla and salt. With the mixture on, slowly add the sugar and continue to mix until thoroughly incorporated. Be sure to clean down the sides and the bottom to make sure everything is included. Add in 1 egg at a time and beat on low until incorporated. It's important to make sure that you do the eggs separately because it'll make sure that your batter does not split. Clean off the sides of your bowl. Make sure everything's incorporated again. The mixture is very wet. It's kind of like pancake batter. Set the cream cheese mixture aside. Pull your crust out again. Tear off 2 large sheets of aluminum foil and wrap around the base of the pan. And then take a second one and go the opposite way. Doing this will make sure that the water from the bath doesn't leak into your cheesecake. If you want to be extra careful that the water doesn't get into your cheesecake, you can use an oven bag. Open it up and put your cheesecake in it. You don't need to seal it up. Most people don't do this, but if you are nervous about getting water inside, this is a perfect solution for you. Pour the cheesecake into the pan and level it off a bit to make an even layer. Tap the cheesecake on the counter a few times to release any bubbles, and you can use a toothpick or skewer to pop any of the obvious ones. So now we have our basin Before you do anything, you'll want to have made sure that the cheesecake fits in. Carefully pour the boiling water until the water is about 1.5 inches deep. Place the wrapped springform pan directly into the water. Transfer the roasting pan to the oven and bake for about 60 to 65 minutes. The center of the pan should be slightly jiggly, but otherwise set. Turn off the oven and allow the cheesecake to sit in the oven to cool for an hour before removing. This is very important, otherwise your cheesecake could crack. Allow the cheesecake to cool completely before covering it with plastic wrap and putting it in the fridge overnight. Or at least 5 hours if you're impatient like me. Store any remaining cheesecake in the fridge for up to 4 days. You can freeze this cheesecake for up to 3 months in a freezer-safe container and just thaw it in the fridge before serving. This video is getting kind of long, so I will link the berry sauce in video up top so you can take a look at that. It's not very long, but I just didn't want this video to get any longer since I packed so much information into it. Now, I promised you tips for the creamiest cheesecake with no cracks. So, here you go. 1. Use full-fat cream cheese and sour cream. Don't skimp out, you will lose the flavor. Same goes for sugar. Instead, opt to cut smaller slices in exchange for the full sugar and fat. 2. Make sure to start with room temperature sour cream, cream cheese, and eggs. This will help make sure that your mixture doesn't separate before you even get it in the oven. 3. Make sure to not overmix. You want to make sure you mix everything well, but not overmix or you'll have a really dense batter. 4. Bake it low and slow. Baking it at a low temperature will help it puff up, but it will not collapse down on itself, creating the cracks. Number 5. While it sounds intimidating, but really isn't, you want to make sure you do a water bath because that will really make sure that you don't have the cracks in your oven. Bonus tip here, if you want smooth cuts on your cheesecake, fill a glass of warm water, dip your knife inside it, dry it off between each cut into your cheesecake, and you'll have the nicest cut. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to get your recipe card in the description box below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and click the bell to receive notification every time I put up a new video.